How do I start these things? Oh, yeah. Happy Patch Tuesday, everyone. It's April 2025. We're almost halfway through the year here. We're creeping up on it. It's kind of a light month for Microsoft. We've got some juicy Apple, CVEs. They've patched a lot this Tuesday. Yeah, so we're just gonna jump right into this. Pause for music, jamming out, good tunes. So let's just jump right into this. I'll start us off here with our usual co-hosts, Seth and Henry, that work here at Automox. They need no introduction, even though I just gave them one. Our first CVE up this week is 2025-27480, and that's a Windows Remote Desktop Services Remote Code Execution vulnerability. This one kind of stems from use after free vulnerability in the Remote Desktop Gateway. It's exploitable over the network with no login, no user interaction required. And while that sounds scary, it still takes a pretty complex method to get this going there. Basically, an attacker will connect to an exposed remote desktop gateway, and it triggers a race condition to get access to the memory that's been freed up. If they win, they can execute arbitrary code and effectively take over the whole server, which usually in a remote desktop server leads to a little bit of lateral movement throughout your environment. It really depends on how you have your environment set up to whether or not this is really a concern for you. If your remote desktop gateway is internal facing, you have all on-prem people, I think this becomes an even more difficult vulnerability to take advantage of. But if you do have people using remote desktop gateway externally, that's when there's going to be a little bit more, I wouldn't call it ease of access on this vulnerability, because it would still take some serious poking to do. Yeah, again, no users, no clicks, no phishing, none of that stuff, just pure network-based exploitation. So I would say kind of look for signs of remote desktop gateway exposure, especially in hybrid or remote heavy environments. But otherwise, this one's just good to know about. Yeah. But yeah, Henry, Seth, anything on that one, or pretty self-explanatory?
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder how many gateways are publicly exposed and sitting out there right now. Go on, show it really quick.
Yeah, just run it on through Showdown, I've worked at so many places that take advantage of remote desktop, but it's never been in a public manner. It's always been internal over a VPN at the most.
Right. Yeah.
So
behind some kind of boundary. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you have a public facing remote desktop gateway,
we're thinking of
we're thinking of you. You're in our thoughts. Maybe reevaluate how you host that unless it's absolutely necessary, but you'll be in our thoughts today.
And this is not legal advice.
It definitely is not. I am not qualified to give that. Seth, do you want to take us to the next one?
Sure. So this one is CVE 2025-29824. This is the Windows Common Log File System Driver Elevation of Privilege Vulnerability. With that mouthful out of the way, we shorten that to CLFS for short. So let's start with what is CLFS. That is the common log file system, and that is a core component of Windows, and that handles the logging of operations and things for the operating system and its various applications. So that will provide reliable logging framework, for storing important events, system data, things like that. So then we have our elevation of privilege vulnerability. That is the type of vulnerability that allows attacker to gain higher permission than they're supposed to have. So, for example, you have a regular user on a system and they can become system level user, right? So this specific vulnerability, what that does, the CLFS driver, this also involves the use after free bug that Ryan just talked about. So we're 2 for 2 on those. So just to reiterate, that uses memory after it has already been freed up, which can lead to bugs, unpredictable behavior, and giving a threat actor a way to execute code. So, why is that dangerous? You can combine that attack with other attacks as well to gain complete control of the system. So, especially with the elevation of privileges, again, you have your typical user doing their day-to-day stuff, and they can exploit this bug, or an attacker can exploit this bug, and then they have full system, kernel level access. That can be dangerous for enterprise environments, obviously, moving laterally, things like that. And again, since it's a kernel level flaw, that can lead to some serious compromise. So what should you do? Obviously patch, get those Windows updates. A good monitoring is always good for monitoring CVE identifiers, associated with vulnerabilities like these. So you can try to alert before you're notified that you have the vulnerability. And keep your endpoint protections, antivirus, endpoint protection, all that thing up to date. Continuous logging with the SIM. Try to set up good alerting, and try to protect yourself.
And I don't know if you covered this, but does it require an admin user, or can just like a normal user?
No, this one can be. Again, this is a race condition. So, in theory, a user level person can elevate up to system or admin. And something I did not mention with this one is this has been exploited in the wild. So it has been a confirmed exploit.
Yeah. So literally, I think this is the only one that's been exploited on like the list of CVEs that released today, which honestly is a little scarier for a regular user. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's wild. I don't really have much on that. Just that's wild. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Henry? Anything on that, or you want to take us to our closing CVEs?
Yeah, I don't really have much to add other than when you said CLFS, I feel like a little bit of trauma surfaced because I just remember seeing like exactly that CLFS.sys on like a blue screen of death before in my career. And sure enough, it looks like there's even an old CVE where a vulnerability allowed a malicious authenticated low privilege user to trigger a blue screen of death using that driver. So really interesting stuff. But, yeah. Beyond that, though, let's see here. So I'm actually gonna change it up a little bit and talk about Apple for a second. I think I read somewhere that there were 131 CVEs patched this month for Sequoia. I believe that's 15.4 that just came out. And I think that's actually a record from what I read, 131 CVEs. And I cannot, I can't confirm that for sure, but just kind of skimming through the release notes, there's a whole smorgasbord of vulnerabilities here, ranging from kernel, like the kernel, to the App Store. I think I saw a few CVEs related to authentication services, AirDrop. One in particular that I thought was interesting, CVE 2025-24243, affected the audio component or audio service. And it looks like just a classic arbitrary code execution through a maliciously crafted file. So I can only imagine like how that's exploited, maybe like a malicious MP3 or something like that. That's it's really weird. I'm going to be really interested to read more about that when more information comes out. But yeah, honestly, I'm really impressed with how many things were patched this month. So kudos to Apple for fixing so many CVEs.
Apple out there trying to save the trees.
Yeah.
It's funny because, Sequoia and
I tried.
I'll leave now. But yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah. No, the audio one, I mean, God, that would just be just think back to the LimeWire days, where you're just downloading MP3s that were viruses. Now, like, get a little bit more in depth with those.
Anyways, so yeah, if you're on Sequoia, definitely patch this month.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that again, kind of a light month on the Microsoft side, heavy month on the Apple side, although, good on them for getting all this patched. Other than that, I think that's going to do it for us, and we'll see you next month.